I think Vasco Shot is a firebending fishman. Throughout this video, we'll discuss Oda's inspiration for him and the final powers of end-of-series Jimbei and Vasco Shot.
Hey, nigga better turn me.
Hey y'all, Golden Boy here, and I'm recording the next 3 videos all tonight. So pray for me, because that's a lot of work. I'm heading on vacation next week, so I'm going to pre-schedule all the videos to keep up with my consistent posting schedule of Wednesday, Friday. But let's just hop right in. The first son of the sea, Jimbei is a former warlord. He's a whale shark fishman. Throughout his time on the Sun Pirates, Jimbei learned under Fisher Tiger that it's important not to kill his enemies, because it would be stooping to their level. Freeing slaves from the government, Jimbei and the Sun Pirates became quite notorious. Eventually, Jimbei was offered a warlord position, and he took it. He tied in a 5-day fight with rookie Ace, he helped Luffy survive Marineford, and he held back Big Mom, and the most recently, he tanked Kaido's racist Tobiropo member Who's Who. Excited to join as the helmsman of the Strawhats, Jimbei has always looked out for Luffy. His current dream is to fulfill the will of the late Fisher Tiger and strengthen the bond between fishmen and humankind, bringing his people onto the land and into the sun. And fun fact, in the Green Data book, it's revealed that early concepts for Jimbei include him being a mafia boss, Yakuza, that controlled Arlong from the shadows. Or, he also had the potential of being a swordsman, a friend of Zoro named Saigo. Digging deeper, I learned that Saigo was actually a real man from real life, Saigo Takamori. He was known as the real last samurai in 1800s Japan. Working for a corrupt government, Saigo escaped to a different island to avoid the power-hungry officials. Later, when a rebellion was rising, Saigo was a key player in restructuring the government, and he brought about the Meiji Restoration. He's remembered not only for his martial expertise, but also for his neutral leadership as a key advisor to the Meiji Emperor. So basically, Jimbei being a warlord, working for the corrupt government, but refusing to go to war because it wasn't right, may have been inspired by Saigo, as well as his level-headedness with the new Emperor Luffy, holding Luffy back and Impel down. Either way, I'm happy to have Jimbei as part of the crew, and I'm glad that he's not a mafia boss. So Jimbei is already strong, but can he grow even stronger, or is he too old? I think that we should see a little bit more from his haki, and he's been putting some of that full body haki on display versus Who's Who. That was nice. I want to see it just a little bit more. And the Fishman karate is also pretty fleshed out already. I'm more interested in seeing him fight in his water. When he's in his element with the water attacks, I think it'd be really cool to see him conjure things. Like, for example, he could conjure a water dragon, and he could have it snap at his enemies, like Grandpa Zoldyck from Hunter x Hunter. But that's enough about Jimbei's power. Let's talk about his opponent. We have Vasco Shot. Not much is known about Vasco Shot, as he is one of the notorious criminals that was erased from history and impelled down. He's known as Heavy Drinker, and he always carries sake with him everywhere he goes. While we don't know much about his past, we do know that he loves alcohol, and he's as brutal as they come, asking if he can slaughter everybody at Marineford. His motives are unknown, but to be honest, it's probably just to get drunk and kill people. And in fun fact, Vasco was a real person too. He was a pirate. Vasco da Gama was the first European explorer to reach India by sea. Before we continue, it might be worth noting that Oda stated that if Jimbei existed on Earth, he would be from India. So that might be another point for why these two are going to fight. But anyway, Vasco da Gama was known to be brutal as well, not only towards the Indians, but also to Muslims. On his second voyage to India, he came in contact with a pilgrimage ship of 400 Arabs, and despite their begging and pleading, their offers of gold, Vasco da Gama torched their ship. He set it on fire and he killed all 400 of them. Unceremoniously, when Vasco's time came, he died of malaria in the 1500s. Vasco Shot also seems to be a brutal type, so it'd be interesting to see how similar he is to his real-life counterparts. To me, I think Vasco Shot is a fishman. Like, for sure. I don't know. This is just one of my running headcanons, and it feels like a safe headcanon too. He probably should be able to control water because I think he's a fishman. It makes me wonder if he can control the sake that he carries in his gourd as well. Just like Gaara, I bet that gourd is filled with a controllable element, but instead of sand, this time it's going to be sake. And if he gets a devil fruit, he can make a spark. It'd be cool if he could ignite that alcohol as well. Because if he's a fishman, he can control the water, and sake is liquid as well. And if he lights it, he'll have water and fire. And I guess just to clarify, I think he's a fishman purely based on his appearance. He's got just like the really big nose. He doesn't look like a human. He's got the really big nose. He's pink, like bright pink. Kind of reminds me of Fishman Island. And he happens to have a bunch of neck piercings right where gills would be. Kind of convenient that you're hiding gills from us, Oda. Another potential piece of evidence is that he's wearing that jester hat, because we do know that fishmen were captured and they were treated as slaves for celestial dragons. Perhaps he was a jester for the celestial dragons, and that could be why he's impelled down. He was supposed to be erased from history for committing these nefarious acts. Maybe he killed one of the celestial dragons or something like that, and that's why he's so brutal. But back to his power elements. Yeah, I was thinking it'd be interesting for him to have the water and the alcohol, and maybe he could light it if he has a certain devil fruits. It makes me think that Charlotte Oven's heat fruit would be good, or maybe Gladius's pop fruit from Dressrosa, which can make inorganic objects explode. Like he could ignite the sake. However, I'm not positive if he's going to be able to spark or ignite sake. That fruit has some complications to it, otherwise it'd be too OP. But assuming he gets an ability like this, we could see him wield both fire and water attacks simultaneously, and that would be next level. The choreography would look great. He would be just moving it around. He'd be a firebender and a waterbender. Imagine fire and water at the same time. And you can do two things at once by clicking the subscribe button while watching this video right now. You could be doing it maybe even before I start my next sentence. But continuing on. I chose this matchup because I think Vasco is a fishman. Like I said, those rings on his neck cover up gills. That's what I think's below the rings. The pink color, the big nose, it's just all very reminiscent of Fishman Island. And if he's a fishman, I think he's a good matchup for Jimbei, because Vasco's known to be quite brutal, and he'd be a very strong opponent. Jimbei is also going to be very strong as a warlord, and he doesn't want fishmen to be known as beasts, as these brutal monsters. He wants fishmen to be remembered as people like Jimbei, peaceful leaders, upstanding citizens. So matching him up with somebody like Jimbei just works for me. And how is this fishman battle going to play out, assuming that he's a fishman? I would hope that we can get a battle in the sea. Please, that would be so cool. I want to watch Jimbei fight in the water, because when we watch him fight, we already think that he's strong, but Jimbei's been out of his element the entire time. Whenever you see Jimbei fight, he's literally a fish out of water. But you get Jimbei in the sea, and he starts shooting whirlpools at people like he did at Impelled Down. He's a damn waterbender. So it'd be super cool to get Vasco Shot to control the sake, light it on fire. It'd be reminiscent of Gaara from Naruto, like we said. And if he were to have that light, he could light it on fire. It could be water and fire. He could try to grill up Jimbei. But meanwhile, Jimbei's just going to throw literal water dragons at him. He's going to throw hurricanes at him. Oh, there will be hell to pay. It'd be so badass. It makes me hopeful that this fight will be what actually happens, because I think this fight's a good one. So what do you think? Please leave a comment below and subscribe for more fun and games on my channel. Check out this video on the screen, and I bet you'll like it. And have a good weekend. Remember, stay golden. Thanks for watching.